got a chance to see The Man in the White Van with a bunch of people in it. I got a great cast. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows. And I am your host, Frank Zanka, an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And I just want to say happy holidays to everybody because we're getting up there. It's only a couple of weeks left before the end of the year. Can you believe it? This year was not good for me. But with all the strikes and everything going on in my houses, I'm actually going to get super drunk when 2024 ends, saying, thank God it's over. But feel free to skip ahead if you've seen this a million times. But I want to bring out my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood, the comic called Lords of L.A. I have 2 issues that are 48 pages apiece, so they're basically double issues. And I'm fulfilling them right now. In fact, I just got a notification the last 2 covers are coming in from the printer right now, so that's lots of fun. But anyway, it's about Lena Morgan, a lounge singer in the 50s, and also we have Marilyn Monroe is in this as well. But anyway, she is turned by one of the 2 vampire mob families, but she doesn't know which one, so she comes back 60 years later to wreak her havoc of revenge. So yeah, the artwork is pretty awesome in there, and it is more of an adult piece. So there's plenty of blood, sex, and violence in here. But there's my samurai cover for issue 2. There's the Helene cover. That is the main cover, which is the katana cover, I call it. And then we have the cover for issue number 1 as well. And it's got the same artwork in both because the same artist did it. And if you'd like a copy, let me know. You can either email me through here, or you can just put a comment in the comment section. Plus, if you are a fan of Timothy Zahn, who created Thrawn for Star Wars, as well as Kevin J. Anderson, who worked on Dune books, as well as Star Wars books as well, and Brandon Easton, who worked on Peggy Carter, the series from Marvel. The cover art is by Matt Wagner from Batman and Grendel fame. Yeah, just a ton of people that are very, very talented. Anyway, they're grouping together to do a Green Hornet anthology just in time for the 50th anniversary. Anyway, you can go to greenhornetnoir.com, or there's a link in the description below that you can just click on too and get notified about when we launch in January. It's going to be awesome. You're not going to want to miss it. So definitely go to one of those and get notified. All right, so let's jump into The Man in the White Van, and I'll tell you a little story about this film. So first of all, I was a big fan of Stargirl and Ali Larter from, she's been in a ton of stuff, but I'm just going to say Resident Evil. And of course, Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings. He played Samwise Gamgee. So I'm like, whoa, I never even heard of this film. Never heard of it. But after I watch a film, I'll walk around to all the other theaters and see what's playing, see how many people are in the theater, and that gauges me to know, if a film's going to be a success or not. And then I, test myself when I see the numbers come out, in Monday. So last weekend I went to see Craven, and I walked around to these other theaters, and I jumped into this movie. And I was tempted to sit down and just sit through it, but I didn't really have time to see 2 movies back to back. But when I saw all those actors in, I'm like, what the hell? And plus, it was a period piece in the 70s. And I'm like, what is this movie? And I had to look it up because I had never heard of it. So to have a theatrical release for a film I never even heard of was crazy. But anyway, so I looked it up and it ended up being The Man in the White Van, and then it ended up being based on a true story of a serial killer in Florida in the 70s that basically grabbed women and brought them into his van, and nobody really knows what happened to them after the fact, but the movie takes liberties with that, but not too many. It takes a little liberties, too, with, what happens to the killer during, one of these outings. But I'm not going to really go into spoilers, although, it's a true story, or based on a true story. Again, it takes liberties. But so I went to see it today being Monday. And I kind of backed it into going to see another movie, which was a blind screening. I'm like, all right, if I'm going to go to the movies anyway, I'll go to see that one, and I'll plan for being at 2 theaters on Monday. But I really enjoyed this film. There was one thing I did not like, and this director's done pretty much nothing. He worked on a reality TV dating show. And he directed the entire season, and that's pretty much all he's done. But meanwhile, you have Legion M. If you're not familiar with Legion M, what they do is they take investments from normal people. You could put $5 in there, you could put $100 in there, whatever it may be, and then they use that money to invest in films as well as pay themselves. I'm sure the majority of that money goes to paying themselves. And they continuously raise money, and nothing they have ever made has ever made a dime. So none of these people that have, and I'm one of them, I put money in there just so I can see what's going on. And I can tell you that I've never seen a dime. So nobody who's ever invested in anything like this has ever, made a dime. But at the same time, it's not like Kickstarter, you're actually getting stock. But at the same time, and how they keep, doing rounds is they must be opening up a new corporation, selling that off, and then opening it up. That's the only thing I can think of. Because they're doing rounds, which means, what, do they just keep splitting the stock? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm not really sure how they keep raising money, but they do. But anyway, so nothing they've done has made any money. And now here's another film, and I can't find the budget on this thing, but with all the actors in here and the fact that it's a period piece, it's got to be anywhere between 10 to 12 to 15 million on the high end. If it gone to 20, they did something wrong. But because it has a limited cast, but there are school scenes and stuff like that. But again, it's very limited. I know for a fact they really didn't make any money, because I just looked it up and they have no information on any revenue from this film yet. And it was only me, and of course it was a Monday, but it was only me and one other guy. And when I saw it the last time, it's in a tiny theater, and maybe there was 5 people in it over the weekend when I went to see Craven on Friday. So yeah, this movie's another failed movie, because I'm sure they did not go to the streamers and get $10 million for this movie, because it's a thriller, not a horror. So it's not really like blood and guts, and it's not really a slasher or anything like that. It's more of a psychological thing, and it's really about this one girl, Annie, who's done a few things, and I thought she was really good. The acting is really good. I thought the film in general was very good. For a Legion M film, it was pretty good. And this must have been one of the few films that they actually just didn't dump money into, which is what they normally do. I think they actually produced this, because what I actually read was that their line producer was working on the budget, which means they actually produced this film. So it's different than what they've done in the past. But if they've lost another $15 or $12 million, it's crazy. I'm sure, because again, it's not going to sell internationally for the most part. Because again, it's more of a coming of age type of movie, because Brec Bassinger, again from Stargirl, and Madison Wolfe, who's playing Annie, it's a lot about their relationship, and it's also about the relationship with Annie and her younger brother, who she's very protective of, and her kind of coming of age and wanting to date this guy. So it's got a little bit there for the females, and it's got a little bit there for the males, because we have this serial killer stalking these women, and then we actually have a final girl, which, is Annie as well, but I won't tell you who else lives or dies or anything like that. And then you have Sean Astin and Ali Larter playing the parents. They're kind of a mismatched couples. It's kind of a little miscast, but I gotta say that Ali Larter really played a good mom. I thought she played a better mom than Sean Astin played a dad. Again, it's just, when he was stern, I felt like it came off well, but then when he wasn't stern, when he was kind of a pushover, it was a little bit strange. That's why I think it was miscast. Plus, he and Ali Larter. Big difference in looks. She still looks good, and she's probably pushing my age right now. But it's definitely worth seeing. Again, I always push for, even with Legion M, of which I'm not a big fan of Legion M. I don't really like their model. But I got to say that whenever there's a low-budget film or independent film out there, especially with this kind of cast, they're all looking to augment their careers or to help out low-budget film. So I try to celebrate it by, going to see it in the theater. I'm sure like Y2K is already coming out on streaming. Red One's already out on streaming. So they jump pretty quick, but I try to, support them in the theaters as well, especially a movie that's pretty well done. What I didn't like, the one criticism I have, of course, we have the killer that continually gets up from things that he should never get up from. That was pushing it. And I really wanted to have text at the end about how he was caught or if he was never caught. I have to look that up to see if they were, because I'm sure that this whole thing, this family may even be completely fictionalized for all I know. I didn't look it up. But the one thing I have a criticism of the film portion, not the actual reality portion of it, the true story portion, is the changing of the years. I liked what they did. They had like the years kind of in blood, and it goes, and then the next year comes up because he was killing for like 5-6 years. So we got to see the family grow older as well, and get more mature and stuff like that. And I liked all the stuff with the horse and stuff like that. But they put these years in the middle of a scene instead of like, okay, well, here's the next year, and the killer's got another kill. They put the year in the middle of a scene, so I couldn't tell where there was a change. I couldn't. Was it before or after what I'm watching? Because the change of year, unless it wasn't New Year's when this scene was taking place. So we could have a change of year in the middle of the scene. It doesn't make any sense. So that kind of put me off. That kind of took me out of the movie. Every time there was this change of thing in the middle of a scene, I'm like, what? I don't know whose decision that was, but it wasn't a good one. That was an editing error. But again, somebody made that choice. All right. But I definitely recommend the film. Go support it. The cast is great. The acting's really good. The thriller portion of it's good. And I think that the family dynamic and the coming of age portion of it, I thought was written pretty well as well. I can't really dog on the directing. I had no problem with the directing. They made the white van literally another character, even though he doesn't really have any experience in this type of genre. For its first time out, I think he did a decent job. All right, well, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. And definitely check out my next review, because I went to see 2 movies in one day for The Fire Inside, which was a pre-screen. All right. Thanks again, guys. Happy holidays. Remember to go to greenhornetnoir.com to get notified of when that's launching, or the description below has a link. And remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up. And if you can subscribe, please do. It's free. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And I'll see you on the next one. Happy holidays, everybody.